Oh,
I feel the what you call it coming in. I feel the thickness in the oh. Are we live?
we've been live.
Oh.
We have been live. Welcome to Glowing Up Black, the podcast for soul.
Welcome black, welcome black, welcome back. So we are here. We're gonna wait for some people to come in, or we won't. We'll just start because
We're gonna jump right in. If y'all are here, y'all are here. If you're not, you're not. Someone just joined us. Welcome, welcome, welcome.
That's gonna make them feel awkward. You know, when you walk into a room, it's just you, and you're like, "Ooh, hello."
Comment if you're awkward. Married at First Sight, season 12,
So
episode Uno.
I think there's a different way to say 11.
I think it's Once. I think
not
so.
Uno.
I did that on purpose.
That was horrible. That was as bad as Brianna's Spanglish.
Yes.
So anyway, we're back with another live. We love this show. Today was like a meaty episode, but not from the usual suspects. Although we'll get there.
There's always some drama there.
Yeah.
Yes.
Wait, before we kind of dive into the episode, let's just really quickly sort of say, guys, we made it to 100 subscribers. Thank you
so much for the support. This is Daniel's favorite noise, in case you guys did not know from our other videos. We are now at 100 subscribers, and our little baby channel is growing up, y'all, and it's with your support.
Up.
Yes, glowing up. How could I have gotten that wrong?
He missed the opportunity to say it, guys. Anyway, so we're so excited that you guys are here with us. Please subscribe if you're not already a part of our family.
Yes.
Hit the bell. We try to go live. I think it seems like people are enjoying the lives the night of after the show. So we'll continue to do that for the rest of the season.
We'll see how long it goes,
Yes. And also let us know what other shows you want us to get into probably after this, because I think some of the other shows,
well, we have
Insecure, they're already kind of
which is coming
running
up in April, and then there's another show I feel like that we had mentioned before that's coming on after this. Maybe it is Insecure. I don't know. There's something else that should be coming on.
Insecure.
But we will definitely be living because we love it.
Yes. So, all right. And if we didn't already say, I'm Danny and he's
Eric.
And
today we're chatting about the 1 month anniversary of all the couples.
Yeah.
At which point I'm going to say that 2, maybe 3 are donezo, dead in the grave, 6 feet under.
Sheesh.
Buried.
Ooh. There were a couple times where we were like, whoo.
That was, Haley and Jacob. Who's our first couple?
Haley and Jacob.
Right? Ooh, yes, because Jacob was like, I'm done with you. You're nothing to me.
Jacob holds a lot of bitterness. Something's going on in that heart of Jacob's. Okay, let's open it up. There was a tarot card reading.
Yes.
Right?
Early in the episode, the tarot card reading occurred, and I couldn't tell if this was Haley's friend or not. But if it was, I think that's a little unfair, but that's neither here nor there. She comes in. Before, I know, but it was with
the crazy couple
from last season. And they're good. They were fine. So she comes in, and there's 2 key points that she mentions. She mentions this level of aggressiveness that she sees in the cards. She's like,
tarot card reading.
Yeah, the tarot card reading. And she says there's this level of aggressiveness, and I think maybe this has to do with like you really pushing this need for a physical connection. Mm-hmm. And that just sounded like Haley's been in your ear. Again, I'm not sure if this is Haley's friend or not, but that's how I read it. But then she was also like, I'm also reading there's this level of control in the cards where maybe Haley, you are trying to control the situation too much and you just need to let go and let it be. So she was giving a little bit of insight into both of their characters, but I don't know.
I think I don't know if she tries to control the situation, but I think Haley tries to control like her emotions too much. Like she's so like laser focused on everything. Like it almost seems like they have the same issue, right? Like I think that Haley laser focuses on every situation is like, I can't get into him. So if he could change this and make this better, more palatable for me, then I can be into it. And I think Jacob on the other end is like, if Haley, if she
If
can't
you just let
clearly
go a little.
like me, if she can just like learn to let go, because she won't, well, not if she, I think like, what am I trying to say? He's so laser focused on her not liking him that everything that she does, or more specifically doesn't do, I think he's like, this is a reason why we'll never work out, because you're not open enough. You're to this, you're to that. You won't ever, I mean, it's basic. You can't even just give me a hug. People give strangers hugs. And I'm like, well, Jacob, everybody doesn't go around giving strangers hugs. I don't.
Right. And I think that specifically what Danielle's talking about is later on in the episode when Haley and Jacob were at dinner, and she was sort of talking and just saying, hey, it's been a little bit better this time around. And per Jacob, he sort of cycled back around to his core issue. And we've talked about this. I think that their off-camera lifestyles are much colder. And
what do you mean?
As in they probably don't converse that much. They do not connect that much.
Yeah.
They probably are two ships in the night, in the daytime.
In the night.
And I think that he's very much right. If they are living together now, not only when they first got home from the honeymoon, they were sleeping in separate beds.
Yeah.
And no one's going to feel good about that.
Sleeping in separate beds. And I think even when she moved in, he's like, it's ice cold,
Yes.
And if we watched the
last
the pre-show.
Episode. Oh yeah, the pre-show. But even in last episode, he was like, Dr. Viviana said we should, kiss goodnight, kiss in the morning, something like that. And they were in bed talking about it. And she was like, yeah, no. And today he's like, so can I get you won't even give me a hug.
Yeah.
Like you'll hug strangers. And I think that he sees her with other people and how bubbly she is. And she has a bright personality when you actually see it. And he gets none of it.
But he's also joking sometimes. Like he knows that she's
really
uncomfortable. And so he's pushing her buttons and kind of poking fun at her, but she doesn't realize that he's joking.
Right.
And so when she responds like honestly, like no, he gets thrown off. And I think he gets angry because he's like, dang, I'm joking. And you're still like.
He's only half joking, though. He's like, I need you to give me the full answer.
Yeah, because then he holds her feet to the fire when she doesn't give him the response that he's looking for.
Right.
And I feel like it just like it seems almost negative. Like whenever you watch them interact at like a lunch or dinner or what have you, he's just like laying into her. And she's like,
I just wonder what their other interactions are like.
She doesn't have a response to it because it's like at this point, if you think that I think that you're so horrible, right? What else, what can I say? Because you're convinced of who I am and you don't even know me. And I think ultimately he feels like you don't know me and you won't give me a chance. That's why I'm like, I want you to say it out loud that this is your fault.
I think
that's why we're failing. It's you. It's not me. It's you.
Okay. So you made 2 points. He was like, I need you to say it out loud. Mm-hmm. And he blames her for what is happening. He's not taking responsibility for the fact that early on he did jump to conclusions and basically shut her down completely in terms of at least giving it a try. I think I do believe that she's being dishonest about whether or not she will ever have those feelings. Yes, she's like, let's feel out the process and let's just have fun and all that type of stuff.
She's trying to be committed.
But,
or
at the end of the day, she does.
A good game.
Yeah, she's talking a good game, but she really does not like him. And it's okay. And he sees that. I'm telling you, 30 days of you barely look me in the eye. You got the like awkward face. We're cold. We barely touch. And we're in the same house. Like, imagine if we had we're cold shouldering each other. We had a cold experience for 30 days. Like, that is a long time,
Sometimes you just don't like each other.
But you got to work through it,
Yeah.
You're going to cold shoulder me for 5 minutes. And then I'm jumping up and down on the bed just to make you laugh. It's happening. Something's happening to break that ice.
Some of that is marriage too, like not like 30 days or what have you, but like sometimes you get into a groove, where maybe something's just off or you like are on polar opposite sides on a matter. And, so some of that he has to kind of stop trying. I think Jacob has to stop trying to make Haley like the not the aggressor, but like it's like he's trying to make her out to be the monster in this situation. Like, you guys don't know what she's like behind closed doors. And so when I get on camera, I'm gonna come at her because I need y'all to see like this is who she's driving me to be. And it feels like the desperate acts of like, someone who's flailing. Like, I don't, and I'm not saying he's not a nice guy. I do think really Jacob's a nice guy, but I just think that he's so insecure. Like, okay, this is one of the things that I said to you while we were watching. I feel like Jacob is not used to being like someone who people don't find attractive. Like, as odd as he can be, like as goofy or, whatever, just kind of strange. Like, I think he's fine with his, being kind of quirky with his quirks. But he's like, listen, like, look at me. I'm 38. I'm built, like a lot of guys my age are like very much, sitting in their dad bods. Like, look at me. I got my bachelor's pad.
I really
don't. So I really think that in some community, Jacob is the hot stuff, or at least that's what what he thinks he is.
I don't think so.
He can't imagine that this young girl is like, she's not a girl, she's 29, but that this woman is like not into him. And I think that's just really throwing him. And he's just like, just say you don't like me. Like, you're not attracted to me. You basically think I'm ugly and you don't like me. And that makes you not want to try. And I think for her, it's less about the physical. Like, I think if she felt like there was more between them, there wasn't so much tension, that she could maybe try to be more attracted to him.
I don't fault Haley for not being attracted to him. Mm-hmm. She's been turned off and they're not compatible. That's the truth of the matter. She's not going to be able to overcome the incompatibility. And I think in her heart of hearts, that's what has a hard time saying out loud. I don't think it's about whether or not Jacob like really thinks like, oh, I'm so attractive and my circle or this, that, and the other. I do think that there's probably in his life, in his past, there's been a level of insecurity, which is why he's poured so much energy into working out and into his home, right? The things that he can control, but he hasn't been in a relationship for a very long time. And I think that, he reverts to this 80s thing because he's not sure he has that much else to he's not sure that he has that much else to actually provide to people. This is just what he likes. So I don't know if it's like, oh, I'm so attractive, how can you not like me? I think he honestly sees that she's not attracted to him, and there's a lot of resentment built up about experiencing that one-on-one. Like, stop, don't sugarcoat it. Please just tell me. Because as dry humor as he is,
30
I know
times.
But I'm saying she has never said it outright. She's always said, I'm not okay right now. I'm not. I
think she has said it. I don't know. I think he has said, just let me know. Are you attracted to me? And she's like, no, not right now. She said it. He just can't. I don't know. I think he wants her to just say it's over. Say you won't try anymore because you're unattracted.
You're right. It might be that. It's like, do we need to continue the process? Like,
yes.
Let's not pretend like you could get over that.
Yes.
Or whatever is stopping you from getting to that.
Because he even made it in his mind. They watched all the couples like watched their wedding videos or looked at pictures or what have you.
And he saw their first kiss as like a first signal of her backing away because of not being attracted to her.
And I didn't see that. Like, maybe he felt that, but like when I watched them kiss, I didn't see her like pull away. Like
she said she did a little. What? And he had to bring her back to it. She tried to give him a kiss cheek, and there was some hesitation there. Now, why? You're getting married to a stranger.
Your first,
absolutely, he's reading too much into it, but there was some hesitation.
Jacob is a catastrophizer, right? Like he catastrophizes everything, and then he overgeneralizes. And I really think those are like major personality like.
Yeah, he's not giving her the space to grow in any emotion, and he's definitely not giving her the chance to be herself. He is completely painting her with whatever brushstrokes that he has already come to conclusions about. They're dead. He even said it today. He's like, we're, in 4 weeks, you don't have to worry about me anymore. Like, it doesn't even matter. So, next week's episode seems like they're having a better time. But honestly, I think she's been done. And he's just like, tell me that you're done so we can both be ready for what's going to happen in 8 weeks.
And honestly, I think it makes him a little bit, and I'm just going to like throw this out. I know it's going to sound like a wild card, but I'm kind of like, you know what? Maybe Jacob's a coward. Like, at the end of the day, if you feel like at this point, that because she says she wasn't attracted to you, that she can't, that her trying will just never be enough because that it's just not enough for you, then why don't you cut the cord, right? Like, you don't actually need two people to decide to cut the cord. Like, one person is enough. And if he just would walk away, then that's it. And then, but I think he doesn't want to accept responsibility for that. He wants it all on her. And the reality is it can't be all on her, Jacob. Sorry.
Maybe. Let us know what you guys think about that one.
Yeah. What are you guys thinking?
All right. So the next one is Brianna and Vincent.
Champagne Vinny.
Took her out on a boat. He was dressed to the nines, his little bespoke suit.
Well, first they looked at their wedding video.
Yes.
And they kind of talked about it and they kind of rehashed feeling, in love and accepting each other. And, I think there were some concerns that a lot of us had in the first couple of episodes, just about her possibly having to walk on eggshells with his temper, her having to change herself to suit his, the internal like insecurities that he had within himself. But it seemed
it's something they can work through.
Yeah, she's. I mean, they
both big a deal as the TV show has made it out to be, and even they said we've had some hiccups along the way, but in the grand scheme of things, they are minuscule.
Yeah, like there's nothing like terrible that has happened, and they just seem to be very happy.
They do. They're very cute,
in love, and they're so cute. And he called her like Brianna Morales or something.
I think that's his last name, Morales.
And she just lit up. She did say when she met with the other girls, though, that like Vinny is like very like kind of like a steam train, like all okay. I don't even know where I was going with that metaphor, but like, just like
all in.
Yes, he's all in. And she said that she is like a little bit scared though, but she doesn't relate that to him.
He's all in. I'm all in too.
But I'm still,
nervous. I'm realistic about where we are in the process. I think that's what she was saying. I don't think she's too worried about too much.
I do think though that both of them romanticize their union because they both wanted to be married very badly. And I do wonder sometimes if they hold back because like they do like presenting this like, everything's great. And I'm not trying to, they're like probably the most lovey-dovey couple. So I'm like not trying to throw salt in their relationship at all. But I do wonder if because they both have sort of self-identified as like we're this great couple that they are nervous to ever kind of say like, hey, there's like, maybe I'm like so into you and I love you so much from what I know for you to be and what I know love to be. But I also have only known you a month and I'm a little bit nervous and some of that nerve feeling might come up and make me react in a way. And sometimes that's pulling back sometimes because you might feel like kind of overwhelmed with someone else's love for you. Because, like if you think about it, like when someone says that they love you and maybe you say that you love this other person too, there's like a weight, right? Like you don't just accept that and it's just like free, right? Like you're accepting that person's heart, and you're sort of promising like to do your best not to hurt this heart that they've given you, And so it's not, it's not hard to see like that could be a nerve-wracking thing. It should be. It's a big step in intimacy and connection with another person.
True, but I mean, when you're first falling in love, like remember when we were first falling in love, like it feels good. You're not so much worried about, oh my gosh, she loved me. What happens if it goes wrong? Now they are married, so that's a different weight attached to that love. But you even said it, you was like, everyone deserves a honeymoon phase. And they are very much in the honeymoon phase. What I think what you're saying is we hope that they are being realistic about the crest of this wave and remembering that, you know, don't get too enamored with the high highs or the low lows. Just make sure you stay even with the consistency and the actions that you're taking so that you're not too invested in what is a momentary time in your relationship. If you want it to last, you have to work through all of those feelings, whether they're the feelings you want or don't want. So I think they're good. I think that they have gone through the issues that have, you know, the kinks, some of the kinks that allow them to communicate better. That's going to continue to happen. They'll run into an issue and hopefully they have someone on their side that'll put good words in their ear so they can work past it.
That sounds like a really good way to wrap it up. But I have one more thought on that.
Sorry. I want to get on to the juicy ones, y'all. I got some.
Well, so my final point on Brianna and Vinny is just that, you know, when they were on the boat and kind of just discussing, like, I think he asked her, like, do you feel married? And her thing was like, well,
she said, no, it does not feel like an obligation.
Yeah, I don't feel obligated. I feel like I want to be here, and, you know, and I think that's great, a really right? Poignant thing. But there should be some obligation in marriage, right?
Like, what happens when you don't want to be there anymore?
Yeah, because that's just life, and the obligation is what's going to be what is going to get you through the times where you don't like the person, you know, like maybe the love is there, but the like is not there. And that's just, you know, because the obligation sort of reminds you that, like, this is if you're lucky, right, it's a forever, it's a lifelong journey. And so that's ups and downs, you know, that the feeling of love ebbs and flows. The obligation of love stays around.
Love need to be consistent.
Yeah. And so, you know, that's my only advice to Vinny and Brianna, is that it's not a negative thing to be obligated to somebody. It's, you know, when you actually sign a marriage certificate, it's a contract, you know, right, it's a covenant, but it's also a contract, you know, with the, you know, in the law, you know, versus like the covenant that you have made, the vows and all that, that's different. But, you know, and so just like any business contract, right? Like, you have obligation to your partners, right? To do the best jobs so that the family succeeds, right? Like, that the unit does well together. And so, you know, that's something that, you know, I hear a lot of talk about, you know, sort of like, you know, you want,
the obligation is too much. I want the good feelings.
Yeah, you want
the
good
life
feelings.
Partner.
You want the party.
Marriage is hard.
The Instagram pictures, the matching pajamas, and the fancy, you know, the big ring and all of that. But you don't want the obligation. You know, they're newbies, they're neophytes in their marriage, so they'll learn. Yeah. But, you know, that's just how I feel. That was just, you know, my part on Brianna and Vinny.
I think that they are working towards understanding the levels to this.
Yeah, they're still my favorite couple. They're still the cutest couple on the show, I think, on this season.
I think so.
So, you know, we still love them. But, you know, they still have to glow up, right, in their marriage.
I mean, they're glowing up right now. Let us know if you guys can't hear us or not. Like,
that would be horrible.
It would be horrible, but I think we're pretty good.
Did y'all hear that?
I don't think they would stay on the channel.
Can you guys give us a thumbs up, you know, for watching? We really appreciate that. It helps with, you know, the algorithms or something. I don't know. It sounds good. When other people say it, it makes all the sense in the world. So, you know.
There we go. Somebody's listening.
Hey.
How you doing? Yeah, Brianna and Vinny are saving the show. Thanks, DJ.
Right,
appreciate it.
Brianna and Vicky are saving the show. That's so funny.
Listen, I'm telling you, we don't have very many that have good hopes.
Their kid's gonna be cute. They got pretty teeth. Okay, both of them have beautiful
they
teeth.
Really nice smiles.
Yeah, they have really nice smiles.
Very nice smiles. Yeah. You had said something that I was like, you know, ties directly to Eric and Virginia, but the next people on our list was Chris and Paige. Who do you want to talk about first?
Chris and Paige.
Yeah, they do have great skin. Good skincare routine. Something's going on there.
Yeah. Chris and Paige or Eric and Virginia.
Who do you guys want
I'm
to talk
taking
about
too long
first?
to think. Let's do. I feel like Chris and Paige weren't.
Yeah, it wasn't a big deal. We can knock them out.
Big. Yeah. So let's talk about Chris and Paige. So from what I remember, I can't remember.
First they did.
Was she looking at the book first?
She did. No, that was at the very end. The first thing they did was they had their little basketball session. Because remember last episode, they wrote out their calendar and they said, we're going to go to dinner. We're going to do Bible study. We're going to go play basketball. So they're actually acting on those dates.
Yeah. They actually got out the house or hotel rooms or whatever, because it feels like, outside of,
talking to the girls, she is locked in a room.
We don't see them like outside at all.
No,
so they actually got outside. Chris and Paige had like a love and basketball kind of moment. And if I remember being like young in my 20s and like I was just like, I'm just trying to recreate love and basketball. Okay, like that's the kind of love I want. Although
and for the guys, it's like
it was
just
struggle
a reason
love,
to get close to you.
It was struggle love, but yeah.
Yeah, come on, back it on into me, it's nothing more than that. But Chris is calling himself an introvert in this scene, which I'm like, yo, you're like the king of gaslight.
Why is he always whispering?
Oh, and then she asked him about his first engagement. And
that pastor
keeping secrets.
Dwight,
yeah, the pastor told her that he'd been engaged before.
Dropped the tea on that.
He was like, it happened when I was 20. Which I'm pretty sure he's lying about, and said that it was a mutual breakup and then we got back together and then she left and then he blamed it on him not making a lot of money.
Which what 20-year-old
is making any money anyway?
Who has the expectation that another 20-year-old is going to be making all this? I mean, maybe the new kids, where 20-year-olds are like millionaires on YouTube. But really in real life, like you have time to get yourself together at 20.
I don't think it's about that at all. Remember, he was homeless at some point and left the state. So there's something there. The timeline doesn't add up. But Devian says, I just want to see anybody who knows Paige outside of the show. She's acting like an avatar. Where is your life? You said something. You said that her family doesn't want to be a part of it.
I think last week it was she made like a side comment. And I want to say somebody asked her about that, or she just commented. But anyway.
Was it in Unfiltered? I don't think she was in. Was she in last week's Unfiltered? I don't think she was.
All right. Anyway, what Paige said was that her family didn't want any parts of the show.
But also in this episode, she did mention that Chris was calling her out.
I remember.
What happened?
Actually, it didn't come from the show it came from an Instagram post.
Okay.
Somebody or some kind of social, maybe it was Facebook or something like that. Somebody screenshotted and she put in there like her family didn't want any parts of the show.
Which makes sense.
And that happens.
And because she probably told them what happened
but
after.
They can't do it over the phone situation.
No, not unless you sign that release. No, you cannot. And so she mentioned in this episode that at some point Chris was like, I called you and you didn't pick up or something like that. Being the victim per usual. And she was like, I was with my mom at that point. Chill out. So
Paige
thankfully,
also has 2 jobs.
And the 2 jobs. Thankfully, Paige does have some connection with the elders in her life, with her loved ones, with their family. Yeah. So it seems like they've been putting some more positive, more realistic, more pragmatic, and in my mind, correct interpretations of her biblical, her faith into her ear, because she was definitely like, maybe this isn't the right thing. Maybe I'm supposed to be learning a lesson. Maybe I'm supposed to be learning how to choose myself. So I think that's at some point she's been, I don't know, hearing it and learning to act on that truth. She did
talk about, she sat with the girls and she kind of talked with them about, maybe I'm just in love with the idea of being married
as opposed to who I'm married to.
Yeah. And it kind of made me question, right? Because I feel like on the other side of that is, of maybe I'm just in love with the idea of being married. The other side of that is versus the person that I'm married to.
Mm-hmm.
And it made me wonder if what she didn't say but felt in her heart was that did she fall in love with Chris somehow? Even despite all of this craziness, because it felt like what she was saying like I'm just like, you could be in love with the idea of marriage, but when a crazy person comes your way and all they give you is negativity, stress, drama, right? Like, and you're still fighting for it, like unrelentlessly. And we kind of go
But
back
is
and
it
forth
though?
because
Is
we,
it unrelentless? Because there's two things that we find on this episode that make it seem like,
oh
oh,
yeah,
Paige is actually just doing her job right now. Because
oh,
Chris is saying, and I know that he's
I don't trust
exaggerated
Chris
this.
though.
I don't either. But he basically said that, you never want to hang out except when it's on camera. And for
Well,
me,
he said you don't answer the phone.
and he
said,
also
I
said you
called
never want to
you.
hang out except when it's on camera. He said that to her at some point as well.
Okay, maybe I missed that. But he said that he called her and she didn't answer. And her thing was, well, I was out running errands. Like, I do have a life. Like, I was with my mom. And here's my thing. And this is, I've seen somebody say this in regards to like Love and Marriage Huntsville and Martell Hope. If y'all watch that show. Chris is starting the story in the middle, right?
Right.
And you can't just say, oh, you only want to hang out for cameras because you don't answer my call outside. But I tried to call you. When the week before you said, because she said, well, what Paige said was like, why not follow up with the text saying, hey, I called you, like just to make sure that I got the call.
He talking about, I don't like texting.
Yeah,
now, mind you, we have seen Chris
phone.
on his phone almost every single episode doing what? Text. So he don't like texting Paige, but I guarantee you texting Mercedes about, did you like your new car? Oh, there was one thing that came up. Paige is sitting down with the girls and she's talking to Haley and Brianna, and she's telling them about that Chris bought Mercedes a car. And which I hate because she's now parroting his narrative. She tells them that it's because she was in a car accident and
6 years
ago and has been Ubering for a long time.
Because she's uncomfortable with driving.
And what is Haley asked the most poignant question? How does this change her uncomfortability with driving?
A brand new Mercedes.
What would that change about whether or not she's going to drive? And so I'm like, listen, that's what
because Chris brought himself.
He bought him and his family
Mercedes
a car
for his new family. Exactly.
They just got a new family sedan.
And he's gonna drive. He's driving Mercedes around in her Mercedes. Okay?
Right now.
Right now. And he said, this is me putting stock in our relationship after I get off this show and I'm divorced.
Exactly. He knows it's
he's
done.
A whole mess.
So
I didn't like
he
how
gaslights her up this episode in order to get her to run away, in order to get her to get pissed off. He basically blames her and says that you don't pick up the phone. You don't want to hang out with me. And he does this because she says, I need you to be more consistent.
Right.
And so he was like, nope, I'm not going to allow you to hold me accountable. Yeah. I'm going to flip the rug on you and I'm going to distract you with this one point I can hit over and over and over.
But not say all the reasons why she may not pick up the phone. Because what Paige said was, whenever you call me, is to set up something and you have nothing to say, or you just call me out of some obligation and be like, I called and you have nothing to say. And we've seen that the last 2 times, like he'll call her in for something and has nothing to say. And she's just like, what am I doing here? What is the point of this? And so I just think that Chris is like, you cannot behave the way that he behaves
and expect everyone to just be sitting around waiting
and then
for you,
be surprised that I don't have anything for you, right? Like I don't have anything for you because all you have done is given me stress and pain and drama.
Right.
It's turned my emotions upside down all the time. It's a roller coaster. I don't trust who I am with you. I don't trust you with my heart.
And
I don't trust you with my spirit. Like, yeah, why would I answer? Especially if you're just calling, because he don't seem like the type to leave a message.
Actually says Chris broke her this week.
Yes, when she broke and finally cried.
Yes, and he was aiming for that. He was trying to do that. It makes her look weak. It makes her look small, and But then he told Dr. Viviana he didn't want to do phone calls.
Yes,
so you're trying to have it both ways, and in front of one person you have one conversation to shy away from accountability, and in another conversation you'll flip that. So for him, truth doesn't matter. It's all about what's gonna allow him to navigate his needs and his desires.
He's always trying to make himself look better somehow. Like, I feel like even the way how they showed up, right? Like, he invited her somewhere. I don't know if that was his house or like
Yeah, like where were
I don't
they?
know
And
where
why
they
are you
were,
in a
guys. We
full
missed it.
suit while she's in jeans?
And so she's like, "Oh, I didn't get the memo. Like, you look nice." And it's just like he wants to show that dichotomy. Like, see, like, I'm the package, and like this is what they gave me, and it's just like, come on.
Yeah.
Like he's just a whole hot mess.
And you can tell how much he is. I keep going back to this, but I think he's just like his dad. And I'm sorry,
we don't
Mr.
know
So-and-so.
his dad. What
I
his
don't
dad
know you, but
feels like from what we saw.
I
of
will
him.
recant and reframe. He is.
Can we get a
he
few
is
more
giving
likes
me
in
the
here, guys?
same energy that his dad gives me. It's just like I'm trying to be suave and cool and impress you and whatever. Because while they're playing the pool,
yeah,
he's like the coolest guy in the room.
Yeah.
Trying to banter, be back and forth, making her laugh, smiling, enjoying himself. As soon as they sit down and have a serious conversation, he turns into Jackass Chris and he can't handle it. So then he starts taking out the ice pick and starts jabbing at her.
Yeah.
So, I think finally she said it in an OTF. She said it on camera. She said it consistently. We're done. I'm done. This is over. I'll continue by myself if need be.
He said that.
But that's it.
So the thing is that when
he did.
After Chris like kind of launches in on Paige for not answering the phone when they're playing pool, he also says like it's not working.
Right.
And he's essentially trying to say
100% emotionally disconnected.
Yeah. He basically
Which basically means
in
I'm unplugged
lap.
from this completely. It's not a we. It's like I am not feeling you at all.
Yeah.
That's what he's saying for real.
Which was wild because at the beginning of the date, he said, like, I'm more attracted to her. But it's like he's been saying it's like it's almost like he
said right after that, yes, she has a great body. That's all that means.
And he laughs every time he says it.
That's all
that's all she has to offer.
Because for him, he's collected a trophy and he can put it in the back of the closet and not think about it anymore.
But I was saying something, I just forgot what I was saying.
Sorry.
Like something about like that Chris was essentially saying like he was the one who like cut the cord. What were the words that he used?
He was like something about we just don't need to do with this anymore.
Yeah, like we didn't last. We didn't make it. Like we didn't make it. That's just it.
Right after while she was leaving, he says, "I'm sorry that we didn't make it."
Yeah. And then they show her like in the apartment looking at the photo album.
Talk about herself. The saddest boohoo producer setup on the planet. Made her read the whole book, then press play on the video.
Yeah, like watching their wedding.
Basket out of my face. Yeah. I'm a little waiting to exhale this in the bathtub. Like,
I just hope that Paige learns from this. I think she is growing. Like you can't. I just wish her nothing but the best.
She deserves the best, and she did everything she could.
What are you gonna do?
And I do think it seems like she was more into it. We saw her walk way for back and forth.
She was so willing to start over every time.
Yeah,
and it was just like I don't know, but I do think that it seemed like on camera, she maybe was like.
Soft and more willing than she was off camera.
Yeah.
I think that's the case.
Right?
I think that's the case. I think she probably disengaged like 2 weeks ago after the Chicago trip when he went to Chicago and came back and was like, I want to get a divorce. Right. Yeah. I think at that point she was like, okay, we just going to play these games then. All right. If that's how you going to do on camera, you want to be the player. I can do that too. And I think that we see a lot of that. And mind you, whenever she's doing like her off camera interviews and talking about what's happening on camera, if you notice, she's always wearing the same thing. And so that is really what they call like I don't know what they call it, but they basically sit you down and have you comment on the whole season.
Yeah, at the end.
So she's commenting like literally about what happened months ago or what happened weeks ago, however long that interview
like
happened.
Right at the end of the whole season, They have her going through the entire season
exactly
at one time.
And so she's giving commentary about what she was feeling in the moment, as opposed to like, I've changed my mind, this is what's going on. So I'm not gonna put too much pressure on her for saying let's try again or we're gonna try again. It's like, this is after it's all done. Y'all are probably divorced while you're having this interview.
That's it.
Thank you. Yes, the confessional.
Always got our back.
Real world. Takes me back to the confessional booth.
These are my confessions.
Any Usher fans?
Oh, please don't get me started. I'm hot, y'all. It's like raining here. It's so lights, humid. My press and curls gone. Okay, sorry. Y'all don't care. Nobody cares about that. Sorry.
All right. Miriam says, I'm glad she mentioned that she fell in love with the idea of marriage rather than the actual person. Yep. I do think that was self-awareness. You know, she's taking a step outside of the situation and saying, is this actually good for me?
Yeah.
Why am I still here? What's going on?
Unfortunately, that's the package that like people are presented with, right? Like, I mean, at this point, like a lot of women are socialized to, you know, get excited about the wedding and marriage and all of that.
Your hair looks great.
Thank you.
Devian believes so.
You know, a lot of women are socialized, even if you're not like socialized, like, you know, through like your own personal church or like or your family or what have you, like Instagram, you know, just seeing like beautiful weddings all the time. Seems like everybody spending $70,000 on a wedding. Like,
who else is in love with the idea of marriage?
Why wouldn't right. He's tried 3 times now. Like, why wouldn't people be, you know, into the idea of marriage when like the way that you see it, it's like the most beautiful highlighted moment of someone's life. You know, and she's 25. I have to keep reminding myself, like, Paige is 25. Like, you know, I'm pretty sure I had an unrealistic view of marriage at that point. And if I would have gotten married then, you know, probably like would I have stayed? I mean, I don't know if I would have taken a Chris though. But you know what? I did do some dumb things when I was 25. So, you know, we're gonna have we not all
stayed in relationships we know we shouldn't be in any longer.
A little bit of leeway for Paige.
Those that no longer serve us. So that's Chris and Paige. Done finally. Eric in Virginia. And I feel like I am a flipped coin on Eric in Virginia. How
do we make Devion a moderator? I haven't figured that out. We're gonna have to watch a YouTube video on that.
I know how to do that. getting kudos. Eric in Virginia. I feel like they have the potential. Is this light? And we're talking up a storm. We're getting excited. We're moving. Eric and Virginia, I believe, have potential. But
I don't know.
No, I
feel like they're going down fast.
I don't think that they're going down. Like they have successfully navigated. Now they have not resolved, but they have successfully navigated, gotten through, or at least had the conversations. They've successfully had multiple difficult conversations throughout the season.
I mean,
They've at least had the conversations, which is the first step. Let's at least talk about it. Now, the problem is, which is why I have 2 thoughts about it, is that Eric is a dogmatic butthole.
Eric sort of says, I hear you. No.
But if you don't change.
Finish your thought. Okay, but if you continue with that way of thinking, then I'm done.
That's exactly it.
But I love you. That's
and we're great, and everything's fine.
Like, I am like,
the thing is, and I really...
But can we say the good things about them? They went on a helicopter date. Like, they watched their video.
Not a helicopter, like a
a plane, like a little plane. And
he took her to his family's hangar.
Yeah. And my brother's a pilot. My baby brother, he's a pilot. And so, like, just to see that, like, she was into it and that they had a really good time.
They have a good time together.
They are cute together.
That's what I'm saying. They have potential. Like, it seems like they are.
But there's some fundamental differences. I don't know.
So the first fundamental difference that came up today was this idea of where they're going to live after the process is over. And I'm not going to lie, I was on Eric's side in this discussion. But the way he was dropping the anvil on her, it just did not work out. So basically, she lives in an apartment. He lives in a house.
She has 3 animals.
She does have 3 animals, but
doesn't he have 2?
I don't.
There was a lot of
There were a lot of
furry
animals,
friends.
but this is what I think what was happening. He was like, it only makes sense for you to move in with me
because I own my
because I own my home, and you're going to be wasting money on rent. And I was like, okay, that is just purebred practical logic. He's not putting in any type of feelings or concern around it, which he should. He should step back and say, how do you feel about it? Why do you feel about it? He asked her why, and this is what she said. She said,
he asked her why what?
Why don't you want to move in? And she said that it's because, I just don't want to live there. I want a place for us. And, the dogs are going to be unhappy. This is that and the other. And I think what she was not saying, and this is where the discussion could have gone somewhere positive, somewhere deeper, is that I'm scared to give up my independence and then be hurt. That's where the conversation should have gone.
Yes.
Now he realized,
because she said that before,
right,
that
I'm scared of being hurt. I usually
at
run.
a certain point in relationships that she runs.
Exactly.
And we know that, and that's that comes from her past trauma of being a child of divorce a couple of times.
Mm-hmm.
Abandonment from her dad at points.
Thank you, Gail.
So thank you. So I think Virginia, I think she needed him to lean into her at that point.
Exactly.
And he was just being super, I don't know that he was being pragmatic about it. I think he just was kind of saying, I like it this way, which Eric does all the time. And
I think it's a mixture of both. You're right.
His point was just like, no,
way.
It just I own my home. So it just makes sense for you to be here. And she's just like, our animals don't even, like, it's just a lot. Like it wasn't just the animal thing. She also said, well, your places, I don't want to feel like I'm moving into your place and I'm going to be uncomfortable.
Right.
And I think that was the big distinction that he could have leaned into and talked more about her comfortability, but
and
also
why?
he could have said,
but
beyond that, he could have said like, okay, like, let's go to 8 weeks, you stay where you stay and we can try to figure out if we are both continuing on a good path in this relationship, then we can figure out like a place to move into together. Because the reality is that it's really hard to move into someone's established place. I think the other thing that Virginia didn't say, I think the other thing that Virginia didn't say was that, Eric always talks about being married, previously.
As if he had a perfect marriage.
And I'm like, well, were you married in this home? Because if you were married in this home and I'm moving in, like,
that is true.
I don't want to sleep in your last marital bed. Like, that's gross. So, I think there's a good reason that she has, outside of her sort of nervousness around it, to like, for her to kind of put the brakes on them moving, until they're a little bit more secure. I'll read.
That's true.
Which one? Miriam. Eric is controlling. I definitely understand Virginia's hesitation with moving in. He already thinks he runs everything. Yep. The ultimatums. It's the ultimatums for me. Like, why? I don't understand why he does that.
Home.
Yeah, because he's kind of like, once I get you in here, it's like this is my way, and it's easy for people to do that when they're in their own space.
He's so dogmatic that you can tell he's very controlling and possessive. She's going to become
you can get in my house. Yep.
Like his property in a sense. He's like, I own you. You should be doing this. Yeah. This is how things should go. And you're right. Like it's the ultimatums are far too much.
Yeah. We see if you look in the preview for the next episode, he did say you can leave.
That's true.
We don't know what in regards to what.
I do want to know why he was like, you can get out. But and she left. Gail says, why did Virginia sign up for this show? She's nowhere near marriage. She's not
ready for marriage.
She needs counseling. That's what she needs before she's ready for a long-term relationship. She's got to get over some deep-rooted.
Well, the experts keep saying
issues.
that they did see her sort of her not willingness, but her desire to run sometimes. And the fact that I don't think she's had like a serious relationship for 5 years, but they also said that she seemed incredibly mature and had a lot of like, just like emotional, what do you call it? Like EQ, not IQ.
Yeah.
And like her EQ is very high.
And that makes sense when you're a child of divorce.
Yeah.
To have that level of EQ because you have to navigate two different people's emotions and make sure you're not, or when you are pitted against each other, figuring out how to navigate that. But at the end of the day, it could stop you from being able to find your own happiness because you're still bogged down from your attachments and your fears and things like that. And
I
wrote it
wonder
down.
though, like why she did sign up for the show. Though. At the end, she
Who
doesn't.
knows?
I think she wants to be loved, but I think also she's not really. She doesn't really show in most parts of her life that like she's willing and ready to settle down. But anyway, you say you wrote something down.
I had wrote that her issues stem from fear, and all his issues stem from pride. He's always mansplaining things as if he is infallible. If he's God, if he's got
Yoda.
so much experience, like I've gotten everything right, and you should just follow me because I'm the absolute right. And I think that does come from like some his worldview in a large way. Yeah. But the one thing that if they are going to work, she has issues that I think that a lot of people have. I'm scared that this isn't going to work out. I don't think that's overcomeable, but I think that he is.
You don't think it's overcomeable, or
I don't think it's
not overcomeable.
I believe she can overcome it.
Just making sure.
No, I know. He, however, has the blinders on. He has no self-awareness. And what's happening is that whenever she says something, he pushes it on her and says, that's your issue. So he has a hard time hearing her, and he does not make safe spaces for her to be open and honest. And that is no way for a relationship to work, because she's going to feel stuffed in a box in the closet.
He doesn't bend at all.
No, not
and
at all.
I think they thought that his kind of rigidity and her kind
translates
of
to stability.
Yeah.
And it's not the case.
He's not really willing to move on anything. He's just like, I'll tolerate you feeling different about something as long as in
you
this
don't
house.
act on it. Exactly.
In this house.
As long as you're under my roof.
You do things the way you act according to the gospel of Eric, then we're fine. But you can have your little feelings over there.
Parent-child. It's like, you don't own anything in this house. I pay all the bills. You got to listen to me.
I'm pretty sure she has a job. She'll be paying some bills. So,
I think they are pretty much, I think, again, unless
interesting. I'm not
shifts,
sure.
They're not going to work, but they
Let
do
me tell
have
you
potential.
How I think they could work.
Have potential.
I think they could work because, or they couldn't work. And it could be for this one reason. She said that the way that he is, like she was raised under that, meaning that her dad and all the males in her family kind of feel the same way. Right. And so I think that there is a commonality with her father and him. And if she's the type who will ultimately just kind of bend to the point of breaking or bending to the will of like her dad, then she may actually be that person with Eric. I hope that she doesn't, because I feel like she's valid and her points are valid. And I hope that she's strong enough to be herself. And I really think that there's probably somewhere out there who's more closely aligned with her, but who also can have some of that, rigidity too, but just not the way that Eric shows it. Because I think that at the end of the day, sometimes people go back to what they're most comfortable with, even if, they kind of at some point in their life decided like, I don't really like this. Like this doesn't, I'm way more free with my beliefs.
She's 26?
Yeah, 26.
By the time she's 34, she's going to feel differently about some things. Now,
and
the difference is she's always going to want to be heard. And if she's not heard for the next 8 years, it's not going to happen. Yeah. The Lake Show, they are so guarded. It's clear they have deep feelings, though. Eric is just a white bread and a poster. Okay. I like them. I didn't think I would. I think it can work. I believe that.
I think it's possible. I think they'll sign on after the 8 weeks. Like, I don't think they'll get divorced. And then we'll just have to see what happens. But that's my thing about, I do feel like people eventually kind of lean back to whatever they were brought up under. Sometimes they don't, but I'm like, if that's what she knows.
No, I know. My point is less about whether or not she's going to fall back into like the ways of going through life. I'm talking about like their relationship. If it's going to be strong and last, there's got to be better communication in terms of how he hears her. But the next thing is like
does need to work on that.
The funniest thing is that they probably had the most, like the highest frequency of difficult conversations.
That's true. They're not afraid to have them. And they still fell in love.
He's still very much like everything's perfect.
He does say that all the time.
So in my mind, he is like, yo, as long as you fit my mold of pretty, bubbly fun, we're good.
I do get Beth and Jamie vibes, right? Like where it's like they're kind of explosive, but somehow it works because they got it all out now.
Right. And got help to figure it out.
And they
what was the couple that we keep talking about? They were they're on the couples cam as well. She's got red hair. He's bald.
Beth and Jamie.
Is that Beth and Jamie?
Yeah. From like a couple seasons ago.
Oh, okay. Okay, then yes, that one. I don't know. I was thinking the one who's the host of Unfiltered.
Oh, Jamie and Doug.
Okay, that's why I got mixed up. Jamie's. So yeah, we'll see about Eric and Virginia. He's gonna have to soften up.
Yeah.
Especially considering next week's preview.
All right, who are we on to?
Claire and Ryan, our last couple.
Oh yeah. We're kind of running behind schedule. We try to keep these to an hour, but it's a pretty meaty episode tonight.
It was. Claire and Brian. I don't know.
There's so much going on with what they don't say. There's a lot of
facial expressions. We do like he's
they are just constantly in their heads, and the cameras are just
capturing them.
And it's just like, what is going on here?
They hold on to I
can't tell
much.
Who is thinking what? I mean, Clara's pretty like just says whatever she's feeling. I feel like Clara she's also holding back some other stuff.
Clara says this when she's really thinking this. Like this is just the cover issue.
She's an iceberg. Yeah. There's so much going on under the surface.
And Ryan just doesn't say what he actually wants to say at all. He's saying something over here.
He says, yeah, sure.
This is I think Ryan
I could see the love feelings
growing at some point.
Oscillating around us somehow. They're somewhere out there, the love feelings. I can't grab them, hold them, but they're there somewhere in the atmosphere.
This is my thing. What? There's two possibilities, I think, with Ryan. He doesn't like her. Or at some point,
what's going on?
He has not felt heard. He has not felt like, and I will take it back to the donut episode. There is something that he wants to discuss on like a deeper level. And I wrote it, I basically said that I think he's very much used to being in spaces where he's not comfortable being his full self. And he's brought that Ryan into this experiment. And he needs to be far more vulnerable and just strip it off and say, I want to talk about this, or force the conversation. Because if that is the issue, he's building up a level of resentment of not being able to speak his full truth, which is going to stop him from falling in love with her. He's going to be like, listen, you can't give me everything I need, but are you asking properly? Are you fully asking? I don't know what the conversation is. I don't know what the topic is. It's just a theory.
There's something very controlled about Ryan.
That's what I'm saying. Like,
to where he's open. Like, yeah, he's just very buttoned up, like emotionally. When they kind of open the scene with them, Clara is like discussing how she's moving in, and she's talking about how she's moving in one box at a time, right? Like she said, I bring a box from my apartment every day. And the reason why she's doing that is because she has to essentially figure out where she's going to fit herself into.
She's rearranging his home, like he's moving stuff around.
All of her stuff. Yeah. And it just seems like he's just kind of like, okay, it sounds like a good plan for you to do. But he's like completely hands off. Like it doesn't seem like he's actually taking the opportunity to make space for her.
Right.
But he's like, if you want to make space, go ahead. This is the space that I'm giving you.
It's true. Ryan is giving the avatar version of himself. He has not shown his full side, you know? I think this is like professional Ryan. Like, what's Ryan after, I don't know a couple beers or like relax?
He doesn't do it though, right? Like, that's the thing. Like when he's been at parties with Clara and her friends are like, take a shot. And he's like, no, I'm good. He does not give up that control. And I think it's because he
might not be a drinker, but I also think he's just used to not giving up that control. Like I must always put across this image, this presentation.
Or he's like, I'm trying to protect you from what I'm really thinking, and I don't
like you.
And I don't want to get too much. I don't want to drink too much loose juice, because we know Clara likes to knock it back too, to like give you the full,
when he goes to sleep,
feeling.
He goes back to Pandora.
Like it just, I don't know, Ryan. There's something else.
See, Gail agrees with me.
Okay.
I believe Ryan may be turned on by connecting mentally, intellectually, and spiritually, but Claire connects physically. Clara
does. Yes.
I think he needs something deeper, and she's just not been able to give him that.
She's not giving deep,
And I'm telling you, he wants it. He's aching.
So will it be enough for him? Because there's a point where like, Clara says, I don't know, like I think she asked him like, so how do you think things are going? Because they're sort of on their 1 month anniversary.
Right.
Am I saying that right? Mm-hmm. Okay, whatever. Right. Like there's this whole thing, like they go on a helicopter ride and Clara's like, listen, I don't want romance for romance
sake. She was expecting that I love you.
I want romance with the big cojones. Okay. Like
yes.
I want the full shebang. Otherwise, don't give it to me. And it was kind of like, okay, it was like a funny thing when she said that. But then they're at dinner or whatever, back at the house after the helicopter ride and the romance and all of that.
He asked her, what was your favorite part of the helicopter tour? She was like, all of it. It was really good. And then he's like, the side of the house is not matching the shutters, and it's really irking me. Like, he went straight out of the romance zone. You set up this romantic dinner, and you talking about the house right now, bruh? Like, Miriam says Ryan is so awkward, and about him not liking her, and she agrees that it might be about him not liking her, or he's inexperienced and doesn't know how to be intimate. That forehead kiss was awkward. I think there is a level of, I'm not going to be big on the PDA on camera, because she has mentioned that they've basically done everything except sex. So I don't think it's that he's inexperienced. I think it's that again, it's the image thing. I can't show up a specific way. And there's been plenty of people across the board.
There are a lot of people on the show who struggle because they're trying so hard to not present something that negative, on camera, that they just like hold back so much that it's just like, who are you? Like, right. This is so weird. And it could be like the nature of their jobs. I don't remember what Ryan does, but I feel like some people, they just may have jobs, that they're kind of forward facing. They're interfacing with a lot of people, maybe kids. I don't know if I don't think he doesn't give me teacher vibes really, but that they just don't want like a certain image out there. So they're like holding everything for behind the cameras.
Right.
And he definitely does give me that. But so like when they were sitting
on the couch.
Not on the couch. They were still outside.
Yeah, it was like an outside couch, and they were watching their wedding video.
Yeah. And she asked him like, sort of like, how do you feel like this is going? And he's like, yeah, it's going great. It's going great. And he kind of looks off. So in the way that Ryan does, like, and Clara's like, waiting for him to ask her. And then she says in her, what did Devion say? It was again, the interview behind the scenes, or just the camera or something. And she says like, if there's not love exchange, if we're not doing it before decision day, like, I'm not going to say yes.
Yeah, she definitely said, I don't think that was a bit of a bomb for me.
Yeah.
But you said something interesting. You picked up on it when it was happening. They were sitting on the couch and they were watching the video, and you noticed like she was getting teary-eyed about it.
Yeah.
And you've said that you think she might actually already be in love with him, but doesn't want to be hurt, doesn't want to be the first one. So she's waiting for him to be as connected.
Yeah, that was my feeling during the episode.
I think that
is she in love with this guy? And that's why she's so like harping on the fact that he hasn't said it yet, that he hasn't slept with her yet. That's why she's willing to walk away, because she's like, I cannot do this again.
Right.
Where
it kind of connects the dots though, in terms of like why she puts so much emphasis on sex, because I think my theory is that in her past relationships, she's fallen in love. she's had sex in order to get the other people to communicate their feelings to her in a specific way. And so she's kind of jumbled that up. And so she wants to have sex so that he's comfortable enough to say, I love you, or that she's comfortable enough to give herself to him in that way, both verbally and physically. But she said that watching the video triggers me. And you were like, usually when people say triggers, it's not a positive thing. And so she is definitely sitting in something.
She's not in a positive space.
Gail says, but Ryan never said he loved anyone even after a long-term relationship. I believe something is off with that. I know everybody thinks that, but I think that he said it was a almost 2-year relationship, almost. And my gut tells me that relationship lasted longer than it should have because Mr. Ryan's self-image didn't get out of it when he should have. So he was sort of biding his time, which again makes me feel like, yo, Ryan, you probably don't like her, or she's not giving you what you need, and you're not being vocal enough about that. And at some point you're going to leave anyway.
All I'm going to say is this guy took me wedding ring shopping for our 1-year anniversary, dating anniversary. And that felt right on time for me. That's all I'm saying.
But
so
they're already in it.
So the fact that Ryan couldn't even say like, I love you.
That's what I'm saying. But that's what I'm saying. That's because he was not in it emotionally. Like he can be like, "Oh yeah, I've never said it, whatever." But if you've only had
that long,
people
love is not keeping you there. I thought that's what kept you in crazy situations or whatever.
But he is love. On a also, but you know, some people are just comfortable. They're familiar with the person. You know, people people stay in relationships that don't serve them all the time. Even people that are like, I'm unhappy. It's not everything I want, but it's fun for right now. Or I'll wait till they leave. You know, that happens all the time.
How, like, that doesn't make any sense to me to be in your 20s. I don't know. I think they're both like maybe 30 or something.
Yes, I think he's 30.
So like, let's say if he was like in his late 20s, like you're wasting 2 years of your time with somebody you don't love.
But he's probably like
30s.
I think 20s? With something like that is you're like, not living in the same home. Probably he was probably either working hard, working out hard, building his house, and she came over on the weekend. So. Like it was a space filler. You know, I think that happens a lot.
I don't know.
Maybe not fully 2 years.
I don't know.
Listen, I've been in a relationship where I was like clocking it on this 6 months ago, and I'm gonna take full responsibility for not leaving the door. So it happens.
I think, you know, you can date somebody in a run-on sort of dating situationship or what have you. But to actually be boyfriend and girlfriend and not have love, and you're just sticking around, like you could be having so much fun with other people.
You call Jacob a coward. It is cowardly. It's a butthole move, but I think people do it.
It is.
I think people do it.
All right, we don't want this thing to go too long. Let us know if you guys have any other thoughts before we sign out.
Make sure to subscribe, like. We appreciate all the comments today. It was good. It was a lot of banter.
We love the engagement tonight. Y'all are killing it. Thank you for making this live.
Good insight.
Live. Did you get my? Yeah. Okay. All right. I'm not cool.
You can catch us Instagram, Glowing Up Black Podcasts, website, glowingupblack.com. And if you have any emails or something you want to send us, info@glowingupblack.com.
Well, yeah, coming up, we're trying to do some kind of tag video to celebrate our 100 subscribers.
Yes, so we'll be doing that.
And we're trying to figure it out. So if you guys have any questions that you want us to answer, you guys can send us a DM on Instagram. I feel like maybe that's the easiest. I don't know how YouTube email works. I don't know if they still do that. So just find us on Instagram at Glowing Up Black Podcast and send us a DM. We check our DMs. And if there's any questions that you guys want us to answer, we'll put them in the tag video. And
we'll keep you posted on when that will happen. It'll most likely be this Sunday.
Either Friday or Sunday. We're not sure like what days work better. Which days work best.
Still working out this algorithm thing.
Yeah. Sometimes if we put too many videos out, it's like, y'all don't really be watching. So,
YouTube's try. Not that one.
Yeah. But it's okay.
Thank you again.
Channel. Thank you guys. This was fun. And we'll see you next week. Bye.